tuned in to Upskill Professionals, helping you forge a path upward. Because once you stop forecasting your future performance based on your past failures, you'll soon begin to realize just how within reach new heights truly are. Once again, my name is Chris. I'm your career coach here at Upskill Professionals, and today I'm excited to talk to you about a topic that has the potential to set you on the first and right step toward a long and fruitful career and a splendiferous and secure financial future. And so the career advice that I'm giving you today centers around how you can land your first big boy or big girl job fresh out of college or university. And so obviously the core demographic for this video will be college students and recent graduates, but I think that there's a lot of great career advice throughout this video, which will be pertinent to professionals no matter the stage in your career journey. And so I want to dive into it. And in order to do so, let's first paint the picture. Let's imagine that you are a junior or senior in college and you have worked exceptionally hard throughout your tenure, but you have also played hard, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But as you near the end of your undergraduate studies, you realize that you are walking through and navigating a different air. There's a certain gravity to it, and perhaps that's because your peers and friends are now having slightly more serious conversations around, hey, this is what I think I'm going to be studying in graduate school, or I just got this offer letter from this potential employer that I'm considering. Or maybe when you pick up the phone and your parents are on the other end of the line, they're asking you with a reinvigorated oomph, so what are your plans once you graduate? And as you look toward the horizon of a wonderful new career, you realize that you are facing two main challenges. The first challenge is that even though unemployment rates are relatively historically low, the job market is changing, and it is changing quickly. And so it feels like the job market is harder than ever before to get a foot in the door in. And there are a few reasons for that. For example, post-pandemic, the job market has become globalized. Previously, when you applied for a job, you were typically competing against applicants within your state or major metropolitan area. But employers are spreading their wings and now looking for talent across the globe. Both technology and company culture within the workplace or across the workplace are much more accommodating and welcoming of globally dispersed teams. And so your pool of competition has grown exponentially. On top of that, in the US alone, enrollment rates in undergraduate schools is in the tens of millions per year, which means not only are you facing a global competition pool, but now you are competing against highly skilled candidates as well. And then finally, you're facing the rise of the machines or applicant tracking systems, or ATS for short. And if you are unfamiliar with what an ATS is, it is essentially an algorithm or AI program that ranks all of the applications submitted for a given job posting against each other based on various factors, but predominantly based on how well the keywords in your resume or application match the keywords in the job posting. And so just to put some numbers on it and make an example, let's say that a job posting for a software engineer receives 500 submissions. The applicant tracking system will rank all of those applications and then recommend, let's just say, 50 for a hiring manager or recruiter to review. Now, in reality, the hiring manager or recruiter are not going to look through the entire 50 recommended applications. Instead, they will probably look through the top 10 to 20 and begin scheduling interviews. And so what that means for you is that it is becoming exponentially harder to apply online and have your application and resume seen by an actual human. And I do just want to put the disclaimer out there that I'm just riffing off numbers, and so don't get caught up in the ratios. But the reality is that the majority of applications that filter through an applicant tracking system are filtered out. And so there's an interesting study that I found published by JobScan within the past week of this video being recorded that reports that 97% of Fortune 500 companies leverage an ATS system in their hiring process. And a study by Harvard Business Review revealed that 88% of recruiters felt that applicant tracking systems were filtering out highly qualified candidates. And so those are just a few reasons why it feels like this job market today is harder than ever to get a foot in the door in. The second challenge that you're facing is a fundamental and psychological paradigm shift that you must make, moving from a life lived predominantly in the education system into the workforce. When you're in the educational system, you are recognized and rewarded for your knowledge. You get a higher test grade when you check the right box on a multiple choice question. You get recognized and rewarded when your teacher calls on you in class and you provide the right answer. That's the educational system. In the workplace, your employers don't so much care about your knowledge base. Instead, you are recognized and rewarded based on how well, one, you deliver value to those around you, and two, you can drive real-world business results and outcomes. And so that is a fundamental shift in the way of thinking and how you must operate and show up. And so as you look toward the horizon of this wonderful future career that you're building, as you're looking at these two challenges that you must face of a tough job market and this psychological paradigm shift, the question becomes, how do I overcome these challenges to increase my likelihood of landing my first full-time job out of college? And I have 3 solutions for you, 3 tips. The first is, while you are in university, find ways to demonstrate that you can mobilize resources, whether material or people, to achieve real world business outcomes. That's number 2. And so there are a few ways that you can do this, and I'll provide you some great examples. Number 1, you can get into student government leadership. This demonstrates that you are able to define a goal and a mission so well that you can sell others on that goal and mission to get them involved and help you achieve your goals and achieve real world outcomes. So that's a great way to go about it. Number 2, you can also build a portfolio. Now, often when we think about a portfolio, our mind goes straight to art, but I want to challenge you to broaden your horizons there. For example, an engineer or coder may build a portfolio of applications across various different programming languages that demonstrates that they can apply their technical knowledge and deliver an application that provides customer value and business outcomes. An aspiring marketer may create a portfolio of marketing campaigns or marketing content, and an aspiring event manager or planner may work with their university or local companies in their area to host and launch events that they can then put in their portfolio. Now, the important part when it comes to building your portfolio is making sure that you are tracking success criteria. So, for example, how many people are using your applications? How many leads have you generated through your marketing campaigns? And how many people attended your events? Or how much money have you raised if they were fundraising events? So that's another great way, building your portfolio. Number 3, find local nonprofit organizations who are focused on completing a project or achieving a specific and measurable goal and volunteer. Number 4, get an internship. This is another great opportunity for you to demonstrate your ability to work with, lead others, and deliver real-world outcomes, because it shows that a company in the marketplace saw enough value in you to take you on board in the form of an internship. And that means that when you go back to the job market looking for a full-time job, your value is now increased because you have demonstrated wins in your background. Now, that's the first solution. While you're in undergraduate school, prove that you can deliver real-world outcomes. The second tip or solution that I have for you is begin networking early. This is going to help you beat and or circumvent these applicant tracking systems. And so before you go spinning your wheels in any direction when it comes to networking, you first want to sit down and consider what companies might I be interested in working for, and what career fields might I be interested in pursuing. But keep in mind that this is just the beginning of your career journey. The things that you're interested in now do not dictate where you will be in your career 10, 20, 30 years from now. This is just a starting point. So don't feel the pressure of locking yourself down into a specific field. Just have an idea of what you want some of these conversations to look like when you do start networking. Now, when it comes to actually networking, perhaps the best vehicle that you have available to you is conducting informational interviews. These are essentially 30-minute to an hour conversations where you get to speak with a professional who is in their career, in the workforce, and you get to ask them questions like, what does your day-to-day on the job look like? What do you think of the company that you're working for and the industry that you're working in? How did you bridge the gap of going from your college or university or whatever your background was into landing the job that you're in today? And so this is a great way, again, to just start learning about the realities of the workplace and to begin forging relationships that will hopefully pay dividends in the long term. Now, you have solution number 2, which is begin networking. You have a way or format of networking with individuals. The question becomes, where do I find these people, right? And so I have some great recommendations on how you might begin that search. Number 1, look at your alumni membership. So look for people who have graduated from your university previously, who are now in companies that you're interested in doing the work that appeals to you, and reach out to them to see if they're willing to help a fellow college goer out. Number 2, ask your professors for potential professional contacts they can put you in touch with. This is a great way, again, to leverage some of the people that you already know to broaden your network. And then also work with maybe your educational advisor to understand what partnerships your university may have with companies that are local to your area. Also, leverage the number 1 social media networking tool out there, which is LinkedIn. It has great search capabilities where you can search for professionals by job title or by company and just send them a message and say, hey, I'm interested in the work that you do. Love to have an informational interview with you. Maybe we can meet up over coffee or via Zoom and we can chat for 30 minutes to an hour. I'd be appreciative of your time. That's a great way to begin networking, and I promise you, you won't get as many rejections as you imagine you would. And if you do, just keep pushing through it. And then the last one that I have for you along this vein is make sure that you're attending career fairs and business conferences in your area. This is another great way to begin broadening your network with people and companies who are actively hiring in the marketplace today. Now, the important part is when you show up to these events and conferences that you have your professional brand nailed down and that you are able to commence conversations with purpose and intention while you are there with the people you meet, which lends into the third solution or career tip that I have for you. That tip is polish your professional assets. When I say professional assets, what do I mean? At the foundation of your professional assets and your professional brand are your resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn profile or social media and digital footprint more broadly. Now, when it comes to polishing your professional assets, you want to do 2 things. Number 1, you want to play defense. Number 2, you want to play offense. Now, defense means making sure that any social media content that already exists and that is already out on the web about you is professional. So if you have any videos out there of you partying with your friends, make sure that you take those down, or that you make those profiles private so that that content is not Googleable. And if you don't think this is important, or if you don't think that hiring managers are really out there Googling your name when they come across your resume, I have an interesting statistic for you. In 2018, Career Builder conducted a study showing that 70% of employers used social media as a screening tool for assessing potential candidates. So hiring managers are watching. Make sure that you're playing defense and your professional brand is just that, professional. Now, on the flip side of that, you want to play offense. And this means building out your professional assets and your professional brand with intention and with purpose. Again, the purpose of your resume is to summarize your qualifications, your education, and your skills. This is the foundation of your professional assets because it is often the first impression that a hiring manager will receive of you. But going hand in hand with your resume is also your cover letter, which is equally, if not more important in increasing your chances in landing that job, because your resume is just a summary of your qualifications, skills, and education. Your cover letter is often the first touch point that a hiring manager experiences to understand your personality and your passion. Now, a hiring manager may see 100 resumes a day, but the cover letter is really where they get to know a little bit more about you and understand what makes you tick. So this is a massively important piece of your professional asset portfolio. And then the last, as we talked about, is LinkedIn and social media. Now, earlier, we also talked about the globalization of the workforce. And the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is that it opens up the door for recruiters in the long term to eventually begin reaching out to you before you even have to put in any effort in reaching out to potential employers. And so this becomes a great passive way to begin generating career opportunities. Now, obviously, in the beginning, you're probably going to have to do the proactive outreach, but making sure that your LinkedIn and social media presence is professional is so important, and I cannot stress that enough. So those are the three solutions, and at this point, we're nearing the end of the video, so I just want to recap. You are a junior or senior heading out of college into the workforce. You're facing two major challenges. Number one, the job market today is arguably tougher than any other job market in the past to get a foothold in because of globalization, because of highly skilled competition, and because of the rise of the machines or the applicant tracking systems. The second challenge you're facing is this fundamental psychological paradigm shift that you must make to realize that your knowledge is not enough. Instead, now you need to hone your skills in leading people, working with teams, and delivering real world value and outcomes. Now, you can do this by leveraging your time in university to volunteer with nonprofit organizations, build a portfolio of work, join student government in a leadership capacity, and so on. You can begin building your network early to circumvent the applicant tracking systems and establish professional relationships that will open opportunities for you and hopefully pay dividends in the long term. And then number three, to increase your chances of landing that job fresh out of college, make sure that you are curating your professional assets with intention by both playing defense and offense. Now, listen, it may feel difficult, near impossible to take that next step and launch your career, but you are on the right track and the data is clear. Professionals with undergraduate degrees on average make more money and are more likely to get a job. In fact, unemployment rates for those with a high school diploma are almost twice as high as those who have a bachelor's. So stay the course. You do have a bright future ahead of you, but you do have to realize simultaneously that that piece of paper, that degree and diploma are not enough. you do have to put in the work. And as long as you do that and are diligent about it, you will be successful. Remember, a career is a long journey to sojourn without a guide. And if you don't believe you can do better, I'm here to make sure you know better. So make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you can be apprised as we do publish new content weekly. And this is Upskill Professionals, helping you forge a path upward.